Hajj Ali Shah Ahmadi, who was buried only 2 or 3 hours ago. So please join me in reciting Surah Al-Fatiha for their soul. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawm الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أحد. الله الصمد. لم يلد ولم يولد. An aria, mashallah. Great job. Ahsant. I'm so happy to see young leaders in our community who are taking care of the Quran and they are reciting the Quran properly. You have a great future. The beginning of the journey begins on the Quran. Once you are able to recite accurately and correctly and beautifully as you did, and then understand the Quran, and then implement the Quran. And he is one of the future leaders, inshallah. He's a current young leader, but a future leader who will people benefit from them on this podium, inshallah. And thanks to his dad and his mother who put hundreds of hours, invested their time in raising such wonderful young men. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Those are the future of Islam in this country. So let's go back to Tafsir al-Quran. And if you remember, we were going through Surah al-Hijr. And today we will take verse 9 through 15, inshallah. 9 through 15, Surah al-Hijr. Chapter number 15 in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله جميعا وعلى سيدهم وخاتمهم حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون ولقد أرسلنا من قبلك في شيع الأولين وما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون كذلك نسلكه في قلوب المجرمين لا يؤمنون به وقد خلت سنة الأولين ولو فتحنا عليهم بابا من السماء فظلوا فيه يعرجون لقالوا إنما سكرت أبصارنا بل نحن قوم مسحورون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. It begins by saying Inna nahnu. Truly it is we. God is referring to himself. Truly it is we who have sent down the reminder, meaning the Quran, and surely we are its preservers. We're going to protect this book. This is a promise made by God. Number one, my friends, dhikr in simple Arabic means reminder, dhikr. And God, when he refers to his book, and sometimes other scriptures, not just this book, sometimes previous scriptures, he calls them dhikr, reminder. It depends on the context. In this context, when he says dhikr, it means this book, the Holy Quran, the last book. In other context, when he said dhikr, he meant the Gospel or the Torah, the previous books. Why they are dhikr? Dhikr is to remind, meaning nothing in this is very strange to us. Whatever in this book is compatible with our natural being, with our fitrah, with our structure, with our soul, with us as being a human. So nothing in these books is strange to what we learned when we were in our mother's wombs. This is why God says, I am just reminding. I'm not bringing something in you. I'm reminding. Dhikr is a reminder, reminding you of your responsibility. Just like every mother, every father, every single morning, they keep reminding their kids of their responsibilities. The kids, they heard it many times, but they have to be reminded again and again. We all have to be reminded, not just the kids. We all have to be reminded of our responsibilities in this life. Inna nahnu nazzalna. Verily, it is we who have sent this book. So this is one of the proofs when God says, وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ, and truly, indeed, we are the preservers of this book. And by the way, God uses plural. Why he says we? He should say I. I sent the book. I'm a preserver. Why he's using we? Plural. This is the Arabic literature. Arabic literature, when someone is important, we refer to him as they. We don't say he or she, they. When he speaks, he says we. This is the Arabic literature. Even in the Farsi literature, Shoma. You don't say to someone in Farsi to. To is bad. Shoma. You have to say Shoma, plural. This is a beautiful way of speaking. We don't have this in English. You can't refer to one person, you say to him they. They say what? Wrong. Say he, she. They don't have it in a French or English. Maybe in very few languages. Mostly the Eastern languages. Because it is based on ta'aruf. The Eastern languages, ta'aruf. You have to be very courteous, very nice, only, in the book, but not in the bazaar, no. Okay. So, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. So this is one of the proofs that this book has been preserved and it is inviolable. It would not be tampered. The text, the Quranic text, maybe they change the meaning, but they cannot change the text itself. There is no deletion, no addition, no alteration to the text. God said, I will preserve it. So what are the ways that God will preserve this book? And why the previous books were not preserved? Why God did not say the same about the Torah, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Gospel, the Bible? He never said we're going to preserve it. He never. The only book that God says about it, I'm going to protect and preserve this book against alteration, is the Quran. How? One of the ways of preserving this book against alteration, from alteration, is the memorizers. Just like Arya. Memorizers. We have thousands of memorizers who memorize the entire Quran from cover to cover by heart. We have them in every continent, in every country, in every society, rather in every village around the globe. They memorize exactly the same thing. No more, no less. Even when they recite, their pronunciation is the same. Maybe they have some accent. Maybe they do have some accent. When an Iranian recites the Quran, definitely he is different from an Iraqi. The Iraqi is different from Moroccan. The Moroccan is different from the Indian. They have accents, but the pronunciation is exactly the same when they memorize it by the Quran. And therefore, when you have hundreds of thousands of memorizers around the globe, in every country, in every city, in every village, this is one of the ways to preserve and protect this book against alteration. They are consistent with each other, consistent in their recitation. Exactly, they read the exact text. Take a memorizer from India and put him next to someone from China, next to someone from America. They recite the exact same text. This is one of the ways. One of the ways. Whereas if you go to Judaism and ask a rabbi, ask people who studied the Torah, do you have memorizers? They don't memorize. Maybe they recall this. They say, yeah, it's in my book. But they don't memorize it by heart. They might memorize. I saw a rabbi who memorizes passages, small passages, just like any one of us. We do memorize some small passages, but not the entire book. Neither the Christians have a priest or a pastor or someone from a biblical school who can memorize the entire gospel. They don't have. This is something peculiar to the Quran. Something only God made it, a privilege for this book to be for people to memorize it by heart. By heart. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And then in number 10, God says, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ فِي شِيَعِ الْأَوَّلِينَ. Here, in these 2 or 3 verses, God is trying to comfort the prophet because there was a lot of pressure on the prophet. The prophet came to a society that did not respect the intellect, did not respect reason. They did not respect knowledge. Hardly in Mecca and entire Arabia were people who were able to read or write. When the prophet came, there were only 17, only 17 among the entire Arab nation who were able to read or write. Now the prophet himself was not reading or writing, but he was the most educated. God taught him everything without pen and paper. Without pen and paper. That society did not respect knowledge. And when you have a country, a community, a family, an individual who do not respect knowledge, this is a big disaster. They are not going to use logic. They are not going to use logic. And therefore, there was a lot of pressure on the prophet. He was always denied, always rejected, always belittled, disrespected by Quraysh, using violence against him. So God used to comfort him, telling him nice words to strengthen his heart. لِنُثَبِّتْ, as he says, God in this book. لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادِكَ. We are sending this book and these stories to strengthen your heart. Strengthen it. We all need that. We call it in simple language. What do we call this process? Encouragement. You encourage. You encourage your son, your daughter, your friend, your mother, your father. You encourage people. We all need encouragement. So the prophet needed someone to encourage him, and who is better than God to encourage the prophet? So here in number 10, God is saying to him, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ فِي شِيَعِ الْأَوَّلِينَ. We indeed sent messengers before you to the previous and old communities. Shia' is a plural. The singular is what? Shia. Shia is singular. Shia' is what? Plural. So Shia means a group. Those are the Shia of Ali. Those are the Shia of Abu Sufyan, Muawiyah. Shia means the group, the supporters. Loyal supporters are called Shia. So God says we sent to previous communities messengers, and they suffered just like you. Same story. They suffered. They were denied. They were rejected. They were beaten by their people. وَمَا يَأْتِيهِمْ مِنْ رَسُولٍ. And never did a messenger come unto them إِلَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. But that they mocked him. They mocked the prophets. Why do people mock? Derision and mockery. Why people resort to derision and mockery? Sukhriya. In Farsi, tamaskhur. Arabic and Farsi both, we call it tamaskhur. The verb is tamaskhur. When someone does not have logic, he uses his sharp tongue. But if someone has reason and logic, you don't need to have a sharp tongue. You can convey your message through reason, through bayan, beautiful, eloquent expression. You don't need to have a sharp tongue. You don't need to put people down, yell at people, disrespect people, mock people. You don't need. Because God has given you logic. Use your logic. The best gift that you have, God has given you, is your logic. But those who do not have logic, my friends, they use sharp tongue. They start calling them names, mocking them. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا وَمَا يَأْتِيهِم مِّن رَّسُولٍ إِلَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. A method used by those who are weak. They don't have a strong argument. They don't have a point. They are not logical. They are not even rational. Therefore, they start calling people names, mocking them. Do you remember the last president we had? Whenever he spoke about others, this is a sleepy Joe. This is a crooked, Hillary. This is always mocking people. Why? Because he does not have logic. He doesn't have logic. And this is something not new. It happened throughout the history. When they come to Prophet Muhammad, you are Majnoon. Majnoon, possessed. You lost your mind. You are Sahir, magician, sorcerer. They called him names. They called him many names. Why? Because they didn't have logic. They were defeated. When they are defeated, intellectually defeated, they use their sharp tongue. God says this was the tradition in the old days. And now, كَذَلِكَ نَسْلُكُهُ فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. God says, thus do we place this book, Quran, into the hearts of the sinners. What does it mean? Placing the book into the heart of the sinners? What does that mean? كَذَلِكَ, hence, نَسْلُكُهُ, we place. We make this book to penetrate the heart of the sinners, mujrimeen. Mujrimeen, sinners, the guilty ones. What does that mean? There are two opinions here. One opinion says that God makes the heart of the sinners being misguided. And therefore, He would place misguidance in their hearts so they don't see their way. This is the opinion of the minority. Another group says, no, God is saying it. It means to this book. Reference to this book. He's speaking about the dhikr, reminder. He's using a pronoun, it, a reference to this book. So God is saying, I place this book in the heart of the sinners. How does that go? How does that happen? Because God says, I allow people to read this book, to listen to it, to know about it. So I make sure that I get it, I send the letter to them. They must hear it. If they don't hear it, I'm not going to hold them accountable tomorrow. Because they're going to tell me, where is your book? Where is your messenger? I know nothing about what you are saying. I know nothing. So God says, I make sure that they get the book. They get the message now. Because their hearts are overwhelmed with arrogance. Arrogance does not let them open up their heart. They know the truth. And even now, my friends, many people, they listen to the truth. They know this makes sense. What this man is saying, what this lady is saying, what this wife is saying is right. It's not wrong. But arrogance does not allow them to listen. It is all about arrogance and obstinacy. That does not allow them to listen, and they reject based on arrogance. كذلك نسلكه في قلوب المجرمين لا يؤمنون به وقد خلت سنة الأولين. Because of the arrogance, they are not going to accept this book. And God says this is the want, the tradition of a previous communities too. Because of their arrogance, they rejected the truth. وَقَدْ خَلَتْ سُنَّةُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. This is not something new. This is sunnah. Sunnah means tradition. This story happened with many communities before. They knew the truth. They knew that the Prophet is not liar. He's not a liar. He's an honest man. But because of the arrogance and racism that they had in their hearts, they rejected the truth. This is why, friends, sisters, brothers, always ask God before you ask Him for money, for a new car, for a bigger house, for more money. Ask Him guidance. Ask Him. God does not make you arrogant. And if someone is arrogant, God will soften his heart and his soul. Because if the heart becomes arrogant and hard-hearted, we are not going to listen. We are not going to listen to the truth. We are not going to follow the truth. Always say, oh God, show me the way. Show me my way. Whether it's in religion, show me the best religion. Whether it's madhab, a school of thought, show me the best. Whether it is business, show me the best. Whether friends, show me the best. Don't let me get confused. Show me the best. Show me the right way. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Don't we say this? How many times we repeat this sentence? Guide us through the way, the right way. The right way. صراط المستقيم, the straight way. Always ask God. This is the biggest gift. If you can see your way clearly without confusion, then you are a winner. Even if you sleep the night hungry, believe me. Even if you sleep the night hungry, don't worry about it, because you are on the straight path. Let me conclude with two more verses. وَلَوْ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَابًا مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ فَظَلُّوا فِيهِ يَعْرُجُونَ. God is saying to the Prophet, He's comforting him and consoling him, strengthening him. He's saying, those people are bringing excuses. Oh, let the angels come down so we can believe in you. Show us that we have lots of, treasure troves of money, gold, silver, so we can follow you. God says, even if we, وَلَوْ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَابًا مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ فَظَلُّوا فِيهِ يَعْرُجُونَ لَقَالُوا إِنَّمَا سُكِّرَتْ أَبْصَارُنَا بَلْ نَحْنُ قَوْمٌ مَسْحُورُونَ. Even if we were to open for them gates unto heaven, and they see the heaven with their eyes, they see it with their eyes, that they might continue to ascend, and they go and see it themselves, they would still say, our eyes are merely spellbound, enchanted. Sometimes when you are enchanted with something, your eyes sees the wrong things. You think that this is what you like, what you are searching for, but it is not. It's not. The eyes sometimes misleads. Someone who's thinking of chocolate, he loves chocolate. Even when he sees another object, it could be dirty, something else, he says this is chocolate. Why? Because chocolate is always on his mind. I know someone who loved coins, money, in the old days. Coins. Whatever he sees in the street, the cover for the bottles, what they call them? The caps, the lid. When he sees this in the street, he thinks this is coin, so he runs after it. Spellbound. The eyes are enchanted. They say, God says, even if I allow them to ascend there and see the heaven with their own eyes and see God, which is impossible to see God, with their own eyes, they are going to say, no, this is not real. This is a spellbound. This is enchanted. We are possessed. لَقَالُوا إِنَّمَا سُكِّرَتْ أَبْصَارُنَا. Sukkirat means when the eyes see the wrong thing. Imam Ali has something beautiful in Nahj al-Balagha. Very beautiful. Everything in Nahj al-Balagha is beautiful, but this is my favorite line in Nahj al-Balagha. He says, "Man ahabba shay'an," when you fall in love with someone or something, a'ma basarahu. The eyes is not going to see clearly. Not going to see clearly. Because he's in love. He's in romance with something. So even if that thing is bad, he doesn't see it bad. They tell him, listen, this is bad. This thing, this car, this person, this whatever, it's not good. He doesn't see. We must always ask God for guidance. Always. Always for guidance. So those people are going to say, this is not real. قالوا إنما سكرت أبصارنا. سكرت means spellbound. بل نحن قوم مسحورون. Indeed, we are people bewitched. Bewitched by the sorcery. This is not real. What does that mean? It means that whatever you do to them, they are not going to believe in you. Leave them. This is their choice. Don't run after them. Khalas. Khalas, let them decide. They have a free choice in this life. Life is about choice. God does not want to force anyone to follow any direction. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. He gave us the navigation, GPS, accurate, up-to-date, modern, strong, with a strong connection, the roadmap, and he says, I leave you with that. You make a choice. But then at the end of the trip, there is a checkpoint. And that checkpoint is Qiyamah, the day of judgment. You cannot run away from that checkpoint. If you go into the wrong direction, you're going to be pulled over at the checkpoint. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow guidance on us, inshallah, to increase us in knowledge, in ma'rifah, in recognition of the truth and justice, and also we become advocates of a truth and justice in this life, inshallah. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Tomorrow, inshallah, Salatul Jum'ah is at 1. And what else? To be announced later, inshallah. Yeah. Yes, Dua Kumail, always, my friends, always 40 minutes before the time of the prayers. Always 40 minutes begins. Because the dua is 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and 5 minutes to adjust. The parking tomorrow, so not in the parking lot. Only in the street, on the street, or here at the back. Here we have plenty of spaces. Except Haj Samir himself can park here. Huh? And me, you and me only. 2 exceptions. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minin wal mu'minat wal muslimin wal muslimat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat tabi' Allahumma baynana wa baynahum bil khayrat innaka mujibud da'awat innaka ghafirul khati'at innaka mahi as-sayyi'at wa ja'iluha hasanat وعجل اللهم في فرج إمامنا وحبيبنا صاحب العصر والزمان وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات وإلى روح المرحوم السيد مهدي الروحاني وإلى روح المرحوم علي شاه أحمدي الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد